What's up, Warriors fans, and welcome to Warriors Latest. I am your host, Max Arizin. As always, like, subscribe, and hit that notification bell if you like what you hear, as I do post new Warriors videos daily. Now, yesterday we got some sort of good but bummer news, and that is that Josh Giddey finally re-signed with the Bulls for $100 million over 4 years. Now, personally, I wanted to see him in the blue and gold, but I'm happy he's back with the Bulls and he got his money. Though I will say I am a little surprised that they went with 4 years instead of five, because he's definitely a 5 year guy. He fills up the stat sheet. He is a court general, and he would have been an asset to the Warriors had they signed him post Steph Curry years. But say, all right, 4 years goes by. Now the Warriors have an opportunity during their rebuild to sign him to a new deal when I believe he's 27 and really entering his prime. So there's the silver lining right there. For the Bulls, they have their cornerstone player for the foreseeable future, and now they have to build out the rest of the roster. Now, what I'd like to see is the Warriors really just go after and find ways to plunder that roster, because they have tons of expiring contracts. Now, I know I will beat the Nikolai Vucevic horse until it's dead and in the ground. And I will not stop until the Warriors find a way to get him. But it's not just him, it's also Kevin Herter and got other guys like that. Guys that can add to the Warriors' motion offense and really shoot the three well. Even Kobe White might be an idea, even though I still think he's a little small and all he really does is score. So he's basically Cam White with a huge afro. So I'm not the biggest Kobe fan, but coming off the bench and providing instant offense is something the Warriors could always use. Now, with that said, we also have to look at another player who's currently the last restricted free agent, and that is Jonathan Kuminga. Now, with Kuminga, this has been going on all summer. As we know, we've been dealing the back and forth, the back and forth. Oh, he's offered a 2 year, $40 million deal with the team option. Then they upped that to 2 year, $45 million. Kuminga says, oh, I'm not really interested in that. I might just sign my qualifying offer. Well, he's got to make a decision. Like right here, right now. Like time is ticking, the offer is getting pulled, but I think there is a way to make this work for both sides. Because, all right, you don't want him to sign the qualifying offer, but you kind of do, because it allows the Warriors a little more breathing room to make other minimum roster moves that add to the team as a whole, and then find ways to just make the team better. Now, as I've said before, I'd like them to sign and trade him to Phoenix to see what they can get back. But looking at what Josh Giddey got, and in my mind, Josh Giddey is a much better player than Jonathan Kuminga. That's not really because I think Jonathan Kuminga is bad. It's just my overall preference for a guy like Giddey as a court general who's 6'8", has amazing court vision, and can dish the ball anywhere on the floor. He can get it to the middle, he can get it to the wing, he can get it even to the mid-range. That's great. With Kuminga, you sort of get the same thing, but not to the same degree. You get a guy who can play from the 2 to the 4 and can play it well, but he doesn't have a three-point shot, which you really need in the modern NBA. That being said, he is a great ISO player, which has become a bit of a rarity these days. Like you see ISO players, but they're not as frequent because everybody wants to move the ball, move the ball, move the ball. But if you move the ball too much, you're just creating paralysis by analysis, and there's too much overthinking. It's like, is this the bad shot? Should I pass it? And next thing you know, the shot clock runs out or the ball gets stolen. So I do like the fact that he plays great ISO ball, but end of the day, he's either going to sign or get traded. Now, if he re-signs, I think there is a way for him to negotiate, hey, I want the 2 year, $45 million deal, but you have to take the option off. Like that's got to go. And if that option's off, I will re-sign. I will do what's necessary to be part of this team for the next 2 years during Steph's window. And I think also, like, you trade a guy at the deadline. And that's what the Warriors would do if they re-sign him and think for that 2 year, $45 million deal and things don't work out. You trade a guy at the deadline and you look at it, all right, a team acquiring him at the deadline like especially a player that young, isn't going to want to just have him for February through April and maybe the playoffs and on should the team that trades for him make it there. They're going to want him for that year and a half. Yes, the team option is nice, but they want to really test the waters. They want team control. Like team control is great, but having a team option on I guess a rookie extension isn't going to get you anywhere, especially with the players. And as it's already done, it's created a lot of bad blood. I think just removing that team option will get the deal done. And say he doesn't say, all right, it's a 2-year deal. He doesn't want to stay. You could trade him very easily come February and get a good return for full value. Now, it's gonna take some time to see how he integrates, but I do like that idea because the team that's going to acquire him is okay with acquiring that extra money. That would be what? I want to say three quarters of his contract, and I'd be okay with that. They get back a player that's worth $22.5 million that's under contract. Excuse me. But they get a player that's under $22.5 million and who immediately adds to the roster, or even multiple players. Now, say they trade him to Phoenix right now. They can only get back Royce O'Neal, Nick Richards, and possibly Ryan Dunn along with picks. And the only reason they can get those guys is because they add up to around $15 million. And that $15 million would be half of a $30 million a year deal that Kuminga would sign and then would trade to the Phoenix Suns. So the numbers don't exactly work out, but I understand the Warriors' standpoint. But giving him that 2-year deal without the option is definitely what's going to get the deal done, because this patience and waiting has really killed not only the Warriors, but the free agents thereafter. And most recent news has been specifically with Malcolm Brogdon. Now, we all know that the Warriors have had high interest in Malcolm Brogdon the entire year, but it's gotten the entire summer. But it's gotten to the point where Malcolm Brogdon's looking elsewhere. And he's been looking at the Knicks. He's been looking at the Timberwolves. Those are two great playoff teams, especially they're looking for backup point guards. With the Knicks, I'm not entirely sure they're really going to go after him, mostly because it doesn't make any sense. The Knicks they got Jalen, who's playing 35 minutes per game. They've got Deuce McBride, who's more of a 2-guard per se, but he's still a very solid defender. I would say a better defender than Jalen Brunson. And then they have Tyler Kolek, who is a young and upcoming player who was the Big East Player of the Year out of Marquette. And I think they want to get him some reps too. So I'm not really buying into the whole, the Knicks are going to sign him. I think that's just a lot of hot air. The one that concerns me, though, is the interest from the Timberwolves. Now, the Timberwolves, they have a very great team. They have Ant. They have Julius Randle. They got Rudy Gobert, Jaden McDaniels. They have a great team, and they smoked us during the playoffs last year. That is a big concern. And now their starting point guard, I believe, is still Mike Conley, though he is a little old, and I'm pretty sure I'm wrong on that. But having another veteran point guard like Malcolm Brogdon who can move the ball and handle it going up to the court is going to be an asset for them. And I don't want them to steal that from the Warriors, because that is a major, major, major L if they lose Brogdon to the Wolves, because they're going to have to face the Wolves in the playoffs. And say they get that 2-man rotation or 3-man, whoever the actual starting point guard is, if I'm wrong, that's of whoever the starter is, Brogdon, and then Mike Conley. That's going to be a very, very big issue for the Warriors should they face them in the playoffs, which is very likely. Now, that team overall still has a better team than the current Warriors. Granted, they didn't play the Warriors with Steph, so it's not entirely sure. And should the Warriors sign Steph's brother, all right, I'm a little more curious to how many threes they get off versus how they did last season. So I don't want the Warriors to lose out on Malcolm Brogdon. So bottom line is, Kuminga, you have to make a decision soon. All of the final decisions on all the players for the Warriors are coming up quick. Training camp is only a few weeks away, so you've got to make a decision. Josh Giddey has signed his extension. Cam Thomas has signed his qualifying offer. Now, Josh Giddey, we knew he was going to get a long-term deal. He's a great player. Cam Thomas seems like a lot of empty calories, scoring like big numbers on a bad team, and his other stats didn't really fill out. Now, Kuminga, he was a solid rebounder, a solid assist guy, and scored around 16 points per game. So he has that potential there to be next level great. But he has to make a decision so the Warriors can make a decision on the rest of their roster, especially with the likes of Malcolm Brogdon looking at the Timberwolves. So let's get it done. Kuminga, make a decision. Dubs, make a decision. Trade him or keep him, or remove the option and get this deal done. Now, that's all we have today for Warriors Latest. As always, like, subscribe, and hit that notification bell if you like what you heard. And if you have any other free agents that you think the Warriors should sign, or trade ideas that the Warriors should consider for Kuminga, feel free to comment below, as I love hearing your ideas. And as always, go Dubs.